Hello everybody, this is Dee from Dee's Cute and Crafty and we're jumping right into this video. I have some purple and gold pitberry burlap, a canvas 8 by 10 from Dollar Tree, my lavender paint. I showed you those little cream colored flowers. I won't be using those. And I am going to do a watercolor effect on this canvas as best I can. I really want a soft, muted kind of ombre effect, which is really funny to me because I just had a wonderful family member, a subscriber, comment on a previous video, and she was saying how she would have done an ombre effect in the color purple on one of the DIYs that I had presented. And I hadn't even read that comment yet as I was doing this watercolor effect for this video. I hadn't even read the comment yet. And so I just want to say great minds think alike. Now that I've got my ombre effect onto the canvas, I am going to use that burlap to crisscross on this canvas. And you don't want it to be directly in the middle going down and horizontally because it'll look like a gift wrap present. You want this to look like a cross. If you guys haven't figured out, that's what we were doing. So you are going to put a piece of burlap horizontally straight down, well, not horizontally, vertically up and down the canvas, and then the horizontal piece is going to go a little closer to the top of the canvas so that it does look like a cross. So this gave me a run for my money. I took the burlap off, put it back on because I wanted it off-centered. But then after I did that, I didn't like how it looked. So then I put it back in the center. It it just gave me heck, but it did come out beautiful in the end. I used a piece of jute twine to cinch it in the middle, and then I left that jute twine on, put on my next piece of burlap as you see me doing, and tied that to cinch it in the middle. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to use my stapler to staple this burlap to the canvas. And you see that I just kind of bunched it so that it would taper off. And I tried to roll my rough edges in so that you don't see those. Even though it's flipped over, I still wanted to make it as neat as I could and then staple it again. As you can see in the front, I still have my jute twine hanging. We're going to use that to attach the pitberry. So I'm going to take 2 pieces of purple, actually 4 pieces, but I'm going to take 2 long pieces of purple and 2 longer pieces of gold going vertically up and down the canvas. Then I'm going to take 2 pieces of purple and 2 pieces of gold going horizontally across the canvas. And those pieces, of course, will be a little bit shorter. Just going to follow the burlap of the cross and just going to tie those down. And because I felt like it needed a little something else, I ended up making a little sign. Going to put a bow in the center, just a bow made of the jute cord. And then I always have leftover MDF sitting around. So I took a piece of leftover MDF and just made a little sign that says he lives. I painted it with some white acrylic paint. It wasn't my chalk paint. And then I just took my gator sander and I distressed the edges and hot glued this to the sign to my cross. And it came out very pretty, but it's not my favorite of the 3 that I'm going to show you. I do love them all, but I do have one that stands out more to me. So if you want to know which one that is, you're going to have to keep watching. Moving on to DIY number 2, I have a package of these styrofoam eggs from Dollar Tree. I have teal paint, purple paint, and a navy kind of blue paint. And I have skewer sticks and floral stems. And I'm going to use those to paint my eggs. I'm just going to stick them on something so that I can get them painted. And I went with purple and blue, and I did a very pretty light blue. And in hindsight, I probably would have done them all in one color instead of multiple colors, like maybe all blue or maybe all lavender instead of mixing them up. But I still love how this turned out. I got the eggs painted. I let them dry. I went in with my pencil. I wrote the name Jesus. I went back over it with my marker, and then I ended up going back over it a third time with white paint and a paintbrush. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm taking 5 of my tumbling tower blocks, and I'm going to make a small cross, and then I'll hot glue it and wood glue it to get it together. And then I'm going to take a craft stick and cut it down to size. I'm going to hot glue that to the cross because I need a smooth surface in which to write. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this video today. Welcome to all my new subscribers. It is truly a pleasure and a joy to have you here. And to my returning subscribers, my family members that have been with me for a while, thank you so much for coming back. I love you guys all so very much. And now that I've got that all glued down, I'm going to take some of my jute twine and I'm just going to crisscross it in the middle of this cross, and then I'm going to add some jute twine on the ends of the cross. Once I get that done, I'm going to paint it with some white paint and go back in with some of the Waverly Antique Wax and dry brush that. I will write on the cross, what am I writing? It's excuse me, is risen. I had to think about that because it's not right in front of me. And I've done a couple other DIYs since this one, but it is risen. That's what I wrote on the front of the cross. And it's beautiful by itself. It will look great on a tiered tray, in a vignette with other Christ-centered or religious-based Easter decor. It is all year round. It's nothing that you have to put away when the season is over, because Jesus' season is never over. So at least it isn't for me. So it can stay out all year round. And I'll show you how I'm going to style this with the eggs in just a second. Here is the finished DIY, and this is how I styled it. I just took my small dough bowl that I got from Target. I added some reindeer moss and some Spanish moss, and then I just set the eggs on top of that. I took my cross and I leaned it against 3 of the birch wood rounds that I got from Dollar Tree. Again, looking at this, I love it, but I would have either done all light blue eggs or all lavender eggs, or maybe even brown eggs. But you guys do it however you want to do it. This is just inspiration for you guys, and it is super cute. Jesus is risen. Moving on to DIY number 3, I have this burlap and buffalo check ribbon that I won't be using, but I will, however, be using the burlap and lace. I've got some jute twine, antique wax paint. I've got my solo wood flowers, and I'm going to change the color of those. I have some cream colored burlap, and I have a cross that I already made. I'm showing you the larger tumbling tower blocks that I ended up using, and I get those from Dollar General. So all I did was hot glue everything together the way you saw me do the previous cross. And instead of using the craft stick, I just wrapped the whole thing in twine, and I dry brushed it with Waverly Antique Wax, or either my Hello Hobby Antique Wax. And then I hot glued one of my cream solo wood flowers to the center of that cross. I'm going to set that aside and take my cream colored burlap and just wrap this entire frame. Again, this is DIY number 3, the last one of this video, and my absolute favorite of the 3 that I made for you today. So now that I have my frame wrapped and my cross made, I am going to wire it and hot glue it to the burlap and the frame. Just want to make sure it stays, it doesn't go anywhere. This one is beautiful. It is understated and just, I don't know, it takes my breath away. That's the best way I can put it. It's very understated, elegant, and simple. It means everything. It just takes my breath away. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. So I'm just trying to figure out, do I want the cross to sit right, left, center? That's what you see when I'm moving it back and forth. So I ended up just sitting it a little bit to one side. I made a bow using the burlap and lace ribbon with 2 loops on either side. And I just tied it together with jute cord. I'm going to hot glue it at the bottom of the cross. And then I'm going to take my solo wood flowers. I'm going to glue 3 to each side. I'm going to take one of the Dollar Tree wood words that came out this year that say risen. I believe they had some that said rejoice. And of course, the blessed words that they always have. They are 3 in a pack. And I'm going to get that painted, which I went through it trying to get that painted. I just couldn't get my paint color right. But in the end, I did. So here are the wood words. So I start out painting it in Waverly's Cashew or Hazelnut, one or the other. It was too, I don't know, it was too light. It didn't pop. It didn't stand out. It blended in too much with everything else I had going on with the wreath. So then I went over it in, I believe I went over it in white paint. I tried to dry brush it because I thought maybe that would make it stand out. I still wasn't happy with it. I didn't love it. So I just kept playing around with it until I got it to where it looked really good to me. Made my eyes happy, made me smile, and I said, yeah, this is it. You guys know that moment when you get it just right and you're like, yep, this is it. Well, it took me a minute to get there. But what I ended up doing was taking the Apple Barrel white paint. I don't know if it's Snow White or just plain white, but it was very, very bright white. And that made this stand out on that cross. That was exactly what I was looking for. And it is beautiful, you guys. So I'm going to hot glue it, and I'm also going to wire it to make sure it stays. Put a hanger on the back using jute twine, and this one is done. And here it is, DIY number 3. I took a little bit of white paint and I went over that silver paddle wire so it didn't stand out as much. And I did the same thing with the cross because the paddle wire was silver. I went over it with a little bit of the antique wax just so everything blends in nicely. And here is the final reveal of everything that I've made for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope you like all of the content that I'm bringing to you, just inspiring you for Easter. And if you do like this content, please give it a big fat thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you're enjoying my content, and they share me out so others can enjoy it as well. It helps my channel grow, and for that, I am truly grateful. As always, you guys, be blessed, stay safe, and until I see you in my next one, craft something beautiful today, you guys. Bye.